Well, I ran all these obviously in the S3 machine, and they do look like pretty much the same shaft.
That's the idea.
Yeah, if we go through like from right to left on all this information we got on the screen here and stuff, you know, the mass seems to be pretty close, like within a gram.
Yep.
That makes sense. Maybe a gram heavier, but I mean, that's nothing, right?
Yep.
CPM seem to be about the same as the original one. Torque's about the same, the red being the highest of the bunch, right? And the black being the lowest, and they're only like 1.10 between the two of them. Balance point's the same, haven't changed anything there. The butt EI, which is how stiff the butt is, obviously the black's got the softest butt section because you're stiffened up the tip, obviously.
There's a lot of other stiffness in the shaft to make up for it,
Yep, and the red's, you know, kind of the opposite, but you know, much stiffer butt, which obviously because you got softer tip to counteract that, so the GPMs are similar. But other than that, I don't see a lot of difference. You know, we've actually show red being a mid-launching shaft. That's compared to all shafts out there, right?
I would agree with that.
But within the line, they're definitely, you know, definitely different because the red's showing kind of mid, the blue's showing kind of mid-low, and the black is obviously a low-launching shaft. So that's not that surprising. But I don't think that, you know, the reds, you know, for Mrs. Haverkamp, who wants to hit up in the air, it's still played on tour a lot, right?
So no massive red flags from you on a data perspective of one to the other, right?
No, I mean, we're looking at basically the same shaft. I mean, the fitting numbers, our S3 playability numbers are within, you know, tenths, you know. You know, we do see that the black one in general plays stiffer than the other two, which that totally makes sense because of just where it's distributed, right? The frequency is about the same, but the tip relative to the butt section is quite a bit different.
Correct.
But I think it's good you didn't mess them up.
So that leads us down to a very interesting conversation. So this was the goal, you know, from the get-go, and that is it is partially from a fitting perspective and partially just from a product perspective. If we are updating the original, we need to have a lot of similarities to the original. So when we're a gram different here, CPM point here or there, it's a different product, right? So it is going to be marginally different. But the secret really is when we talk about the new tech that's in this product, we talk about VELOCORE Plus technology, and when we start to up the tonnage of the materials that we use and we integrate a third material into that bias core, that's a balancing act for us of how can we increase speed and increase feel and increase consistency in all those performance-driven metrics without messing with these data points too much at all. So, you know, Jack and I talked about this earlier. It'd be a lot easier for us to just make 3 new profiles because then there's no walls.
Actually, it's really hard to copy something on exactly and change a couple of things and still get the same outcome.
And so that was the goal for us: is how can we keep all those sort of technical bits intact and change the overall performance for it. One cool thing that you guys do when you talk about S3 measurement is, as we know in the shaft world, it's a little bit of a mad science because all the tech is really under the hood. You know, there's not really a lot of visible technology in most instances. There is sometimes, you know, like our TR line, we have some visible material, but you know, unlike golf clubs and club heads, you can really kind of see what's going on. You see movable weights, you see deeper pockets, you see tungsten, you see speed slots.
Shaft's still a shaft, right?
The shaft is a shaft, right? So for us, all the tech is really under the hood, and what you guys do that's really cool is you find new ways to sort of measure and quantify and expose that a little bit. And we live in the data world as well. So that's where our two systems kind of marry together. We did all this on our end as well. So it's a great checks and balance for us that it comes out the same on your end. So it's cool to see.
Yeah, we measure torque a little bit lower because we grip it a little further down than what you do, which is good. Most companies actually lie and they go higher or go lower than what they actually are. But yours are actually measuring a little bit lower than what your numbers say. But apples to apples, they're consistent. You know, it's like a 1/10 of a degree between them. The red being a little higher torque obviously makes it a better fairway wood shaft to some extent than the softer tip. But other than that, I think it's good that we're basically fitting the same club. So if you've had the old one, to be honest, you can probably play the new one
You're not
without
missing out on anything, and you've got a lot to gain, which is really good. That's where we're at.
You seeing a little higher ball speeds out of it? Or
we do. So, you know, we tested this consumer testing on our side, lasted for about a year to 2 years. These things start in a prototype phase, and we kind of find things that work and then build on those things as we get closer and closer to a finished product. But yeah, on average, what we saw is players went up in ball speed. When we compared it to the original models, we never saw a loss in ball speed. We always saw consistent ball speeds or higher. We saw launch and spin numbers be within a half a degree, a couple hundred RPM to spin, which in our world is great. I mean, that's really tight. And then, you know, additionally, because ball speed goes up, we start to see carry distance go a little bit further, and we see dispersion get a little bit tighter, and that's really a result of the new combination of materials that we're using in the VELOCORE Plus configuration. We really are just honing in on a tighter ball flight overall.
Well, it definitely seems to work, and it's not a lot different than the old one, so that's good. Since it's our #1 selling shaft.
Yeah, we don't want to mess with that too much.
That's great.
Yeah, fantastic.
And the color's better too, because we got the new blue is more like our Cool Club's blue, so we like that.
So you're biased, but we like it too. We think it looks really sharp, and it's just even all the way down to the graphics that you mentioned. This is the idea of it's slowly replacing the original, so we want it to have a familiar feel, but it is new. It's got kind of some new tech decals and a new paint job as well. So we're excited about it.
Well, we got black 6s here, right? 6Xs. So that's a little out of my wheelhouse. Probably more like the 5, but we're gonna have Jerod here hit some balls.
We'll bring in a ringer and hit some.
Exactly.
Love it.